It's really easy for you to forget what's your zone of brilliance. I'll tell you why. Because you're so good at it, it becomes easy to you, and it becomes easy for you to forget because you've become accustomed to it. But then you're reminded about how good you are at something when someone comes to you with a problem that they've been struggling with, right? A team member or anyone really in any area of your life, work, personal, doesn't matter. They come to you because they believe that you are the go to person for this problem that they're struggling with. And then it turns out that you solve it just like that, or at least in less time than all the time that they've already put into trying to fix this problem on their own. And on a side note, sometimes people have a hard time asking for help, and it becomes worse and worse and worse, and it creates this ripple effect affecting all kinds of different areas, right? And not just for themselves, but for the people around them, the people that this problem that's growing is affecting. And so at that point is when people tend to ask for help because there's really no other option here. It's just getting worse and worse. And it's not a good feeling to be there. It really takes a huge hit on your sense of self-esteem and your confidence, and it plants seeds of self-doubt. But really, that's not what it's about. Okay, the problem grew bigger than it needed to had the underlying issue been resolved. And in this case, there are plenty that could be the case. But in this case, I'm talking specifically about not owning your zone of brilliance. And a lot of times people focus on improving their weaknesses rather than leveraging their strengths, right? Using that to get further faster because it's something that they're already good at. They've got momentum. Whereas if you focus more on your strengths, and I'm not saying ignore gaps that you need, but when you focus 100% or most of it, you put all your mental energy on thinking about how you are deficient or not skilled enough with something, okay, it makes you feel bad. So it doesn't help you as much as if you focus on your strengths, which you could use to help these guys out. Makes sense? These areas that you feel are a weakness. Despite any of that, I want you to stay within your lane, your zone of brilliance. Um, and like I was saying, it's really hard for people to remember what that is until somebody reminds them. And so I invite you to sit down. I know you're busy, but take a moment. This is an opportunity to slow down, to speed up. Okay, and that's something that you really want to be able to do in leadership because you step into a role of strategic thinking, not so much doing. Okay, your responsibility is to help others do, help them develop themselves, right? Empower them to use their skill set, identify in them what their zone of brilliance is, because they probably forgot to. And it feels so good to be reminded by someone they look up to or someone who's leading them, encourages to do more of it, more of it. Because same thing applies with them in terms of their weaknesses. Like if that's all they think about, that's all that's brought to their attention, and nobody ever says, or not as often as is needed, you're doing a great job. 'Cause oftentimes people just bring things up when there's a problem. It's kind of like if you notice on like Google reviews or like Yelp reviews, if you kind of check that out, people tend to take the time to just post about complaints, and it's the same in at work. So be mindful of that because your team really needs you to encourage them and to believe in them and to help pull out their zone of brilliance so they can move forward and progress faster, further than if they're dwelling about on their weaknesses. I was just talking to one of my clients who I had to remind about her strengths, and her strengths are invisible strengths. Okay, they're more like soft skills rather than technical or hard skills. That is her area of brilliance, and It's easy to forget that, especially when your skill set within you comes out through the words that you say. Um, I myself forget that oftentimes because to me, I'm just talking, right? Like I am just saying what is here and honestly, what is here and in my gut. Okay, my gut. Um, and it's easy to forget that it's not just a conversation, it's not just some assistance, it's actually a gift, it's actually a strength, it's actually a talent, something that can make you, oh gosh, how do I describe this? What I'm trying to say, indispensable, valuable, right? So I invite you to do that. I invite you to take a step back, reflect. What's your what's your zone of brilliance? What's the thing that you do like nobody else can? And I'm not talking about competition or putting someone down. I'm talking about owning your zone of brilliance, which nobody else has. Why is that? Because nobody else is you. Your zone of brilliance is not just made up of your skill set, your personal strengths, your character strengths, what you do or don't do. It's not just made up of that. It's also integrating your values, your personality, the way you see the world. Does that make sense? I hope so. And that is why you are irreplaceable, indispensable. Because nobody else has that unique combination of abilities and the impact that that can make if you allow it, if you stay clear on what your zone of brilliance is, keeping that top of mind. And anytime a challenge comes up, reminding yourself of that so you can pull it and apply it to whatever is presented. We've all got our zone of brilliance, so don't undermine yours. Figure out what that is, leverage it, and lead with it. If you have any questions about that or need some help with anything that I just talked about, I want you to reach out to me. And I know I can help you. This is my jam. It's what I do best. And I'd love to be able to help you if that's something that you want and are ready for. All right. Take care. Till next time.